Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. So, while I have this next 10 minutes with you, I want to try to dive into the storm that I am going through, the mess that I'm trying to figure out the message from, to figure out my path and the journey that will come out of this. And instead of just going through this on my own, behind my own veil of privacy and personal, figuring out, I've always appreciated the journey of someone going through struggles and sharing it during the times of those difficulties and uncertainties and not knowing what is happening and how to navigate and move. That's, I think, why we appreciate a great story, movie, or any part of our lives that requires us to figure things out. And as opposed to the person that comes to the public eye already solved and figured out the mess, I, for one, and I believe the world is becoming quite transparent and quite a beautiful association of relatability to the people that they can see are walking a parallel path of figuring things out and going through their own hurdles. And I'm grateful for a lot of areas of my life. But of course, life by its own nature has so much that's constantly evolving and changing, and there's always the state of growth. We can't sit in our comfort, sit in the plateau of having struggled, reach some comfort level. Is that the rest of life? I mean, there's so many tales of people who have had initial burst of success, retired, and then came back to do something because life is more than just leisure. And so the journey, I want to document my journey. I want to share that with others that may find it helpful on their own journey, as I have resonated with so many that have shared their difficulties and looked up to those people as like if they had the stamina and courage and self-belief to go through and grow through what they're facing, so can I. And so it's with that I come to you to share some of what I'm facing right now, which is a lot of frustration, a lot of trying to organize my life. I feel like I have a lot of the wonderful components, the ingredients are on the table. From here, I truly have 100% accountability. And that's something that I realized just having lunch right now in silence with my wife, because I was expressing my frustrations with a lot of the infrastructure of my life through her, or I was like expressing it as she was the only one there to listen. And then at a certain point, I just snapped and realized like, oh wait, like I can regain 100% accountability. And instead of leaving it up to wanting it to happen and giving vague instructions and not being on top of it, I can actually really dig into it and make sure that it is a lot more clear what it is that I am going after, how the people around me, from my wife to my staff to my teammates around the world, can help or work alongside with me. And so I come to share one key point that I came to realize in the midst of some frustrations today, which is what Jocko would say from the podcast, the Navy SEAL. 100% accountability. And at first, it's the weight of the world of your life on your shoulders. And then you are the ruler of your world. You are able to place things exactly as you wish. You are not waiting for something to get fixed, but rather taking the action and putting the orders in place to take care of it without repeatedly seeing that this thing that you would like to get it fixed, you just manhandle it and get it done. And so just in a matter of waking up to that and realizing, oh wait, the pen is in my hand, I forgot. And then taking control. Thankfully, I have the financial breathing room. I have the time to lay out my life. And I think it's so important before I dive into the ambitious path of being busy and working on something, is figure out A, what to work on, B, set up the infrastructure around me to create the right environment so that I'm in an environment that supports the way that I want to live my day-to-day and not struggling to make those things or fight those little things along the way of trying to actually work on my craft. I'm very inspired by so many success stories that I'm constantly seeing, and it's opening up my mind to a much bigger shift in society that is happening, shift in humanity that is happening with like the way we went from the agricultural industry to the industrial industry, where like 90% of people would, I'm just making that up, but the vast majority of people would have to focus on food production for the entire society due to machinery and processes and methodologies. Less and less people needed to work on food production, and more people could go into the industrial era and work in a different type of business or model in which they didn't need to be in the sun or that much laborious. Of course, factories were still laborious, but there was like more fixed schedules and other elements that evolved out of that. New types of businesses and individuals, new types of careers. And then we came into the kind of information era, whether it be through literacy, whether it be through the internet. Information was a commodity. It started to become valuable. It started to become a way that people could create careers. And that was, let's say, the last like 20, like from, I would say, like 1995 to 2015-ish or something like that, whatever. 2010 or whatever, even more recently. But in the last decade, and especially since 2020, we're seeing in the past few years this surge of people creating their own path online. Not just becoming digital entrepreneurs that need to morph into a marketer or SEO or some technical skills like websites or graphic designs, but things that doesn't even make sense even now, like streaming your whole life and making millions of dollars, getting paid to play video games, getting paid to review food, getting paid to express your opinions. Like, these are unimaginable careers that lead people to like A-list level, and more than that, living a life of their design. And so I'm frustrated by seeing this massive shift that is happening, and I feel I'm playing so small in just one small little space of trying to just make money. Like those people that have reached astronomical levels of both audience and then the financial success as well, they were doing something that I would love to do. I think we all would love to do, which is be 100% authentically ourselves and express the full dimensions of who we are, what inspires us, what we live for, our passions, instead of just being cocooned in, oh, you're the guy for this type of business in this type of industry, and that's what we want to hear about from you. And I've done that to make the money. And now that I see this bigger shift happening, I'm like, oh, wait, there's so many other dimensions of my life that can I bring into and expand so that it becomes a journey of not just project or investment or making money, but rather the journey of a person that so many may be able to resonate with. So that is my 10 minutes. Of course, there's like an hour of this that I could try to bring into words from my storm in my head, but I want to distill it down to small increments, maybe multiple times a day, to get an idea across, both for me to put these vague abstracts into words and into sentences that I can both hear out loud and share with you as I figure out the mess and find my message to reach millions. Peace. Cut that out.